You may have noticed that some PlayStation games with DuckStation upscale and enhance like they were made for it, and you can apply every single enhancement DuckStation has to offer. Stuff like widescreen, getting rid of the wobbly polygons, increasing the internal resolution, and all of that other good stuff. And then there are other games that don't really upscale that well and don't really work with the enhancements, or only work with some of them, meaning you've got to compromise. So in this series of videos, I'm only going to be showing you the games that upscale and enhance perfectly with DuckStation, and showing you exactly what you need to put in your settings for them. We're going to be covering some obvious stuff, some hidden gems, and some other games that might have something a bit special about them, which is definitely the case for the game we're going to kick things off with, the brutally difficult Alien Resurrection. Now this game is often credited as being the very first to have proper dual stick analog control for a first person shooter as we know it today. Left stick to move, right stick to aim. Sounds obvious now, but this control scheme at the time was unheard of. However, Alien Resurrection was not the first to do this. That particular honour goes to Medal of Honor, released the year prior. Alien Resurrection was the first to have it by default, not the first to do it, just to set the record straight and so you're not fooled by Google, because it's wrong. Who'd have thought? What Alien Resurrection does have that Medal of Honor doesn't though, is support for the PlayStation mouse for aiming. Even though the control scheme was innovative at the time, actually using it to aim within this game is absolutely terrible. And of course, using mouse aiming is a million times better. So we're going to create a pseudo PC port with proper keyboard and mouse controls. And the awesome thing about this is that we're not forcing mouse aiming into the game. It's there natively. And playing a PS1 FPS with native mouse aiming is a totally unique experience, and the entire reason we're doing this. So I'm going to be covering the graphics stuff, how to get the control set up, and some other minor things that we need to do. Making all of these changes is best done when the game is actually running, so you can actually see those changes take place in real time. So start the game, find a quiet spot if there is one, and then go into windowed mode and maximize it if you need to. Then you want to go into settings in the top left hand corner and click on game properties. Smush this down and move it to one side so you can actually see what's going on. Now any changes that we make here will be made for this game specifically, so it's not going to mess around with your global defaults. So you want to come down to the graphics options on the left hand side, and irrespective of what your options look like, you want to change it so it looks exactly like this. So just copy exactly what you see on screen now. You also want to go into the PGXP options and make them look like this. And as you can see, we've already got CPU mode forced on, which is exactly what we want because it's stabilizing things as much as possible. And if it's not forced on for you, make sure that you turn it on. Now with the crop, you've got a decision to make. As you can see at the moment, we've got a full 16:9 image. However, if I set the crop to none, it does fall just shy of that. However, it does increase the FOV, which for this game in particular and its super low FOV does come in handy. So you can either go full 16:9 or go just shy of that and increase your FOV instead. The choice is yours. Now you don't have to set exactly what I've shown you. For these options, you can change it to your specific preference. What you're seeing here with these options is how I prefer things to look. So you might want to mess around with things like the texture filtering to see if you like bilinear or any other filters any better. And if you want to know what all of this stuff does, I do have a full graphics options breakdown video that I'll put a link for in the description below. But in my opinion, this is what I think looks the best. Now we're done with the graphics, we can move on to setting up the controls, which we are going to do for this game specifically because the control scheme is totally unique and you're not going to use it for any other game. And you don't want to do this with the game actually loaded, otherwise you're going to get stuck like this. So you don't want to close down the game properties, instead you want to come up to system and power off without saving. And the game properties window should still be present, but if it's not there, go to Alien Resurrection in the game list, right click on it and then click on properties. Then you want to click on summary at the top, and as you can see we've got this controller preset option, and you want to change this to game specific configuration and then press edit on the right hand side here. Before you enable mouse mapping, you want to go into the first controller port and set all of your key bindings. And of course, the original PlayStation didn't have a keyboard. Instead, you would have your controller in your left hand and the mouse in the right hand. And of course, the controller would have move and a few other buttons. So you want to come up to the top right and clear the current mapping, and then set exactly what you see on screen now with your keyboard. If you're wondering what this stuff does, I am going to be showing you a full input list after we sorted out the mouse. So once you've finished up here and you've bound all of this exactly how you see it, you want to come back up to the global settings and then enable mouse mapping. Then you want to go into controller port 2, and with the control type, you want to select mouse. You can try to use automatic mapping, but for me, it does this. So you just want to set it up as you normally do. And with the pointer, all you got to do is click on it and then move your mouse. That's all you got to do with the pointer. So after setting all of that, this is what everything does. And the face buttons you should only ever need to use with menus. And I don't think square or circle was used with this configuration, but I've set them anyway just in case. Now changing weapons with the mouse configuration is a little bit stupid. You've got to hold the right mouse click down and then press reload to cycle through your weapons. Unfortunately, this can't be macroed to a single key press because those inputs are on separate devices. Once you're finished with the mouse, you can close this down, close the game properties and go ahead and start the game. Before you start a new game, you want to go into options, go into the game options and make sure that you turn head motion off because it's horrible. Now you're properly ready to play Alien Resurrection with mouse aiming, which should hopefully make it easier to complete, because as I mentioned earlier, it is absolutely brutal, and I fully recommend you bring up an FAQ to figure out the weapon locations, and there is absolutely no shame in save scumming your way through this one. If you actually found this video helpful, slam it a like, and if you want to keep up to date with the channel and this series, you know what to do. And apart from that, go play some games. Adios.